6:30, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley here with you at WFMY. Plus, hopefully you're having a good Friday. And as we go throughout the course of the weekend and into next week, what you're going to notice is a whole lot of heat. This heat is coming our way, and we've been talking about a big heat wave moving into the Triad, and that's not changing anytime soon. So what we're going to be seeing is a high level of heat, a high level of humidity combining to just make for some pretty difficult weather days. And it is something that we see pretty much every year. We see it all the time in July and August, but this stretch is going to be a little bit longer and a little bit hotter, a little bit more humid than what we usually see. So it's a good idea for you to be prepared, and you're already watching the forecast, so you'll be in the know. Let's get you up to speed. So first things first, let's talk about our weather impact alert. As far as the next couple of days, we're really expecting it to be a long-lasting one. So this thing gets going starting tomorrow. As far as our alert goes, we're putting this into effect for your Saturday all the way through Wednesday. So basically from Saturday in the middle of the day through tomorrow afternoon, through tomorrow evening, we're going to be dealing with that dangerous level of heat. Now, temperatures are going to be in the mid-90s to the upper 90s around the area, but it's going to feel hotter than that. And we'll talk about why in a second. It's all about the humidity factor. What you got to do, I always recommend, you don't have to stay inside all day, but trust your body, listen to yourself, and adjust your behavior a little bit. We're only talking about a few degrees different than we were today, right? So take extra breaks, drink a little bit more water, whatever you normally do. Consider changing the time of day might be a good thing for you. Now, as far as where we're going, we have a heat advisory now. So I'm going to take myself off so you can see this. Heat alerts across the Carolinas. This is something we're going to be dealing with for a while. So what we have, two different types of products. You have a heat advisory, which most of us have here in the Piedmont Triad. A heat advisory means that you're going to have a feels like of around 105 or higher. And that's a heat index. Now over here, you have an extreme heat warning. That's a little bit more extreme. So that would include you watching in Orange County, Alamance County, Chatham County as well. These areas over toward Raleigh just going to get a little bit hotter and a little bit more humid. These are going to be in effect throughout the whole weekend. And today has already been a pretty hot day of weather. Our temperatures right now have already been in the 90s, and with the humidity, it's already been feeling like the upper 90s to around 100. And this is still at 6:30 in the evening. So when we think about heat, a lot of times you'll think about the middle of the day. It stays hot from the late morning all the way through the evening. About 11 in the morning through about 8 o'clock at night. That's kind of when you're in the thick of this. And even by around 10 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be pretty tough over the next couple of days. So just kind of keep that in mind. We're already in the heat, but it's going to get a little bit worse heading into the weekend. So that's kind of where we're expecting. Let's start to show you the feels like temperature for tomorrow. This is going to be something that'll be pretty impressive. When you talk about a heat index, where are we going with this for Saturday? So in the morning, it's already going to be hot and muggy, but take a look at the afternoon. The heat index is right there in the triple digits, and it does start pretty much in the late morning hours and all the way through the middle of the afternoon. So that's the peak heating. That's the peak time of day that if you're trying to fit something in, if you're thinking about doing yard work, for example, for me, that's my biggest exposure with heat is if I'm cutting the grass or if I'm working in the yard, that's when I tend to be sweating the most. Maybe consider a different time. You might want to do it at 8 in the morning or 8 in the evening. Now, the grass and stuff like that, then you have dew to consider, and that doesn't seem to evaporate off at all when this time of year. This is part of the reason why as well. The humidity, it's pretty high now. It's going to stay pretty high going into the weekend. Now, one thing that's different with this weather pattern than what we were just getting out of is we're not finding very many showers or thunderstorms popping up. Right now, this is the live radar across the area. You can see not many showers or storms across the Carolinas. One of the favored areas for thunderstorms to pop up as we go through the weekend will be the mountains. So the Blue Ridge Mountains and even maybe the foothills, there could be a couple of downpours that pop up over that way. And I can't rule out a couple of these even in our Triad counties, but it's just not going to be very widespread. The rain chance for us Saturday, Sunday, Monday, only going to be about 20 to 30%. Here's an example. Our model had some storms popping up overhead today. That didn't happen, of course. Going into the weekend, though, here's Saturday. There's the morning. Look how hot it is already. There's the afternoon. Notice those showers and storms, if they're going to bubble up, they're bubbling up over the mountain areas, then the foothills, then the Triad. That's kind of the progression. They start in the higher terrain, then they kind of work their way down. It works off of outflow at that point. When a storm starts to form, it pushes out this rain-cooled air, and it kind of moves periodically, and that's kind of where we see those move toward the Triad area. So Sunday, similar to Saturday, mostly dry, exceptionally hot. It's going to be very hot and humid. We've talked about it. Here's your weekend forecast. Both of those days are going to be in the mid-90s. Morning lows will be in the 70s as well. It's going to be a very hot couple of days for our area. And there's only so many ways you can say it. This is not going to be record heat. Not expecting that. The record high is 102 for tomorrow. The record high is 104 for Sunday. The dew point trend, the humidity trend, it's up there. We'll have dew points right around 70 degrees most of the time through the weekend and into early next week. If you're looking for some relief, though, and this might give you some mental clarity or some happiness maybe, we're going to notice by the end of the week and into next weekend, we're starting to see a cooler than average trend. So this time of year, our average high temperatures, they're in the upper 80s to near 90. We have some chance to be below average or below normal for those high temperatures as early as late next week. So in our forecast, we're starting to tail off those high temperatures a little bit as you get closer to about Friday and Saturday of next week. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Obviously, we have a lot of red on here. That's part of your weather impact alert. Starts tomorrow, lasts all the way through Wednesday, and just think about ways that you can take it a little easier. Think about people in your life that are a little more vulnerable than you, people with respiratory issues, elderly folks, anybody that's more susceptible to the heat. The people that work outside, God bless them, they're doing difficult jobs right now. And this does happen every year, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it makes it any easier to take. Another way that we can show the heat problems for our area is with the heat risk product. We call it heat risk. It's a 4-point scale, 1 being very minor, 4 being the highest that it gets. And over the course of the weekend and into next week, we are expecting the heat risk to be at that highest level. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, that's what we're expecting, that heat to be kind of at the worst that it's going to get. So keep that in mind for outdoor activities, and just know heat is a killer. It is a danger that we don't often take very seriously because we live in the South. It gets hot here a lot, and we have the air conditioning. But that's the forecast. It does look to get a little more comfortable by the time that the Wyndham comes to town, round 1. That's on Thursday, round 2 on Friday. That's your Greensboro area forecast. We'll be back with your Weather Impact Show across the Carolinas.